Welcome back to Closet Cosplay, the podcast where we help you create con-worthy cosplays on a closet budget. I'm LJ.
And I'm Michelle. And today we are kind of continuing our Halloween discussion with a suggestion from Matt for an original character costume for Halloween that he called Dead Santa. So his plan is to do like sugar skull makeup. Is that what you call it, LJ?
Yeah, that's what he referred to it as.
Okay, cool.
Which it's sort of like the Dia de los Muertos. I'm sure I'm absolutely butchering that, but it's kind of the decorated skulls with paint and stuff like that.
Yeah. So he's planning on doing that makeup, and he mentioned wanting a like black Santa suit to go with it, which is a neat idea. I think it'll be recognizable, if you get the Santa hat and all that. So we thought, oh, easy. We'll find a black Santa suit and it'll be good. Those exist, right?
Yeah. I thought surely. I pulled this. I was like, we're going to knock this out in like 15 minutes because it just sounds like the most simple, basic stuff. Like, how many different versions of Santa suits have you seen out there? Literally, like camouflage ones, rainbow ones made out of gold. We could not find one decent black Santa costume. There was one entirely. Like, I'm not even kidding. We looked on eBay, we looked on Etsy, we looked on Amazon, we looked on Poshmark. We looked everywhere.
We Googled it.
Santa suits. Black Santa suits do not exist. The only one that we could find that like existed, I take that back. There were two. One was from a rental place in like North Carolina, which isn't really going to do and then the other one was the one on Amazon, which looks like it was literally made out of trash bags. And I cannot imagine that would be a very comfortable thing to wear.
And so we just preface this with we have done our best.
We have done our best. And you know what? There's actually a lot of options. And I think this was actually a really good practice in like when you just straight up cannot find something and like the creative mindset. So we'll walk you through some of this and how we kind of came to where we are. But the black Santa suit was the most difficult part to figure out.
There's a black Santa hat though. It should be noted that there is a black Santa hat that is very easily found on Amazon.
Someone explain that one to me. Why is there a black Santa hat that's just there, but the actual suit to go with it, don't exist.
Missing.
It was wild. Well, so like we had first thought, okay, this will be easy. We'll just pull it up on Amazon, snag one. Didn't happen. So then we started thinking, okay, well, what? We start having the existential dread of, well, what is the Santa coat? Like, what is the look that goes with it? And I got very hung up on textures because, like, when I think of what makes a Santa outfit, is it's that very like sort of like velour, velvety, fleecy touch to the fabric with, obviously like the fur trim or whatever like that. So for me, I'm like, I first started going, what about velour tracksuits, which are harder to find than you would think as well, and also obscenely expensive. So, and I don't remember what the budget was on this, but we assumed that he didn't want to spend, $200 on a velour tracksuit. Not that we could really find a great one to begin with.
And the Santa coat itself, is longer. And so most of the like hoodie things we found or the tracksuit jackets we found were right at, your hip. And we needed them to be more in like mid-thigh because that's about how long the Santa coats usually are. So
yeah, it's a very specific length.
Yes. So we went the tracksuit route and then we realized, okay, well, we need something a little longer. So then LJ veered off, still going with her, fabric choice of that, kind of softer fabric choice. So she looked up robes. Right?
I actually feel like, yeah, like, so bathrobes, not a bad thought. If you actually go look, like, it's got the same sort of links sometimes. It has like a white, I found one black one that was like a velour bathrobe, and it's got that same sort of texture, and it even had like white fleecy cuffs and stuff like that, but it was too long. And I think you could have still pulled it off if it was a little bit shorter. Again, this is us being like I was very picky for some reason tonight. I just was. And I was like, well, it's just not the right length. It's just not the right length. But like one of the things that you have to remember too is if you have a piece of costume that's actually going to cover up another piece of the costume, you can entirely ignore that. So like one of the things that I was just not paying attention to whatsoever was the collars and the way that the coat fastened down the front, because the thing is like you can just add the trim over anything like a zipper or buttons or anything like that, because it's just going to hide that with the trim. And then the collar is all going to be hidden by the Santa beard wig. So like that's something to keep in mind when you're trying to find something and you're like, well, the collar isn't right or the cuffs aren't right. Well, are you ever actually going to see that thing in the costume, or is it going to be covered up by something else? Because you can actually save yourself a lot of headache and open up a lot more options if you just kind of keep in mind what is going to be in a sightline and what's not going to be in a sightline.
It's true. So we looked at bathrobes. We thought, you could do that if you wanted to. I think they
You could
could
get
work.
away with it.
Yeah, I think you could. And then I just started thinking, I'm like, well, we just need a fuzzy coat. Like, I just want a fuzzy men's coat. So I searched black fuzzy men's coat, and it gave me all these women's coats, which it's like, of course it did. Honestly, if you're a woman and you want to play Dead Sand, it'll be so easy for you because literally all the fuzzy cardigans apparently belong to
Yeah.
women, which is insane. However, eventually about a fourth of the way down the third page, probably, I found this men's Sherpa fleece hoodie, winter long jacket zipper, thigh length cardigan coat outer, the long description. But it's just a fuzzy Sherpa black hoodie and it's about thigh length. So I'm like, oh, that could work.
And it still has that sort of like shininess to it that
Yeah.
sort of you can kind of get away with the same idea. It's not velour and it's not velvet, which are two very similar things. And I'm never quite sure what the difference is, but they are two different kinds of fabric. I'm sure somebody out there actually knows more about it than I do. But it still gives that sort of shiny, soft sheen that I personally really associate with like a Santa costume. And let me remind you guys that this is probably at the end of like an hour's worth of searching between
Right.
two people
Right.
trying to find something that will work. Like I will honestly say this was probably the most difficult costume that we have put together because they're such unique pieces and you're going for very specific things because that's what you think of when you think Santa Claus, and you're trying to read as a very iconic character who has very iconic clothing. So when you can't find those exact things, you run into this issue of, well, are people even going to realize who I am, especially if you're doing a twist on it. So this is one of those things where like accuracy, while I'm kind of in the realm of if it reads, but like I feel like we're getting close with the jacket or the coat, but I really think it's the accessories that will be like, oh, obviously that's Santa Claus,
That's
right? Like
Santa.
the wig and stuff like that will help a lot
Yeah.
when you can't get like a super accurate item.
Yeah, I think accessories can make or break a costume or a
For
cosplay.
sure.
If your outfit itself is not like dead on, if you add an accessory that's like, oh, okay, then it'll help. Like
Yeah.
toss a Santa hat on, and that's very obviously Santa.
Right. Like the Santa hat's a big and great, we found a black Santa hat. So
Yes,
that
exactly.
was
Hey.
one headache. And honestly, all of the accessories came together very well. But this was sort of definitely we'll get into that in a second, but with the jacket, that was our most difficult thing. And
Right.
with the jacket, even though it is a plain black, and obviously Santa Claus has a white trim on his jacket, that is a very easy thing to add to yourself. Like that is hot glue. That is a hot glue job, easy peasy. You don't have to double it over. You just tack it right onto the end. And even if we had picked and we had discussed this too, when we were looking at some options for the jacket, there were some that were shorter than we would have liked it to be, but you can give it some false length by adding that trim onto the very end of it, because it will just read as the full length of the coat, not, oh, this is where the coat stops and where the trim begins, but it's going to give you a very similar sort of at least over the hip or width. So that's something to think about, is like if you find something that's not quite the length that you expect it to be. Like you just need it a little bit longer. If you have a trim that you're already going to be adding to it, or another layer even that you're going to be adding under it, you can sort of fake that to get the same visual silhouette.
Right, exactly. And I think I know you mentioned hot glue, but this is a $40 coat, and for me, it's like if I were to keep that, maybe safety pins might be an
That's
option.
true. You can do safety pins. I am also a big proponent of safety pins. I have used that. I did a jacket for Vince one time for Halloween, and I didn't want to just like hot glue this thing on the jacket, so I ended up like using safety pins to affix this big picture on the back of his jacket. And I did like almost 100 safety pins, because at first I was like, well, I'll just do enough to keep it on there, and then I'm like, oh, this actually gives it like a nice punk rock kind of look. So that's probably not what we're going through with Dead Santa. Those will probably be hidden safety pins, but I think that's a good point. You don't have to take hot glue to your stuff, especially if you want to
Yeah.
use it again.
Yeah, I think with this, like as thick as it is and the Sherpa fabric, I think, if you stick a safety pin in there, you're not going to be able to notice that. Some fabrics, if you stick a safety pin in,
Probably.
it leaves a hole that's really obvious. But I think this is one of those fabrics that could forgive it and it would be just fine to stick a safety pin in it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this is also closet cosplay, and if you can reuse a piece of item from your closet, then you should definitely do that. So, giving it the
Absolutely.
permanent status of Santa coat might be a bit much for most people.
So,
Not too many
okay. So
calls
you
for
were
that.
searching pants while I was searching the coat, right?
Yes. So originally, like I said, my idea was, well, we'll get a velour tracksuit. That way, both things will match. That was, you guys, you just really don't understand how difficult this was. I almost want to be like, if you think you can do this better than us, please
Yes.
prove it to me, because I don't think it's possible. It was so
Challenge
difficult.
mode, people.
Yes. Someone make me a really good black Santa outfit. I want to see what you do. But
Yes.
yeah, that was not a thing. The black velour tracksuit that was just, plain, and we could use it for what our purposes were. There are a lot of jogger pants. And so I did find a couple black jogger pants, and that will be fine because we still have that sort of shininess to the jacket. It's going to pick up the same sort of shininess as the velour jogger pant, because that was my main concern. Is like I don't want two clashing kind of. They are two different fabrics, technically, yes, but they are both have that tiny sheen to them, which is going to
Right.
give it that cohesiveness. Which that's something you can take into other costumes as well. Like maybe something's latex and maybe something's a different fabric, but if they're both shiny, you might be able to get away with it, honestly, especially for something like Halloween, which
Oh,
again,
yeah.
we've discussed, like, Halloween, you get a little bit more leniency on what you're doing.
Absolutely. So,
But that wasn't too
next
bad.
Yeah. Next, we moved on to boots. And I think we have two options here, depending on what Matt has available to him. We did find a Santa boot that actually has the boot and the fur on the top.
Hmm.
It's kind of pricey. I'm sure you could find a cheaper alternative, like maybe a boot cover. But the
Yeah,
other
I
alternative,
added a boot cover in there,
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, you
think.
did. You
Okay.
did. And so that's just a boot cover with the fur cuff on top, which is significantly cheaper.
Yes. It's again, shoes are almost always going to be one of the most expensive items that you will purchase. So if you can fake a look, I highly suggest it, because you will save a lot of money doing it. So if it
Oh,
was me,
yeah.
I would go
And you
with
can
the fake shoes.
Yeah, and you can use that budget elsewhere for, more accessories.
Exactly. Or just getting yourself a cup of coffee.
There you go.
That's
Give
what I'm
yourself a
thinking
break.
about. Exactly.
So we found a really nice Santa belt that has some like holly detailing on the buckle. There are obviously cheaper Santa belts out there. Just search Santa belt and there are plenty. But I really liked the, decorativeness of this one. So I added it to our Amazon cart.
Yeah, it is cute. And luckily that is one thing, like, you may be spending a bit of money up front on this jacket, but the Santa accessories are obviously bought all the time. Well, all the time. During a particular season, there's a market for them. So you can find pretty exactly what you need at cheap prices. So while you might be putting a little bit more money on the coat, which to be honest isn't even that expensive in the grand
Hmm.
scheme of things, um, it's really nice and affordable for you that all of the accessories are easily gotten.
Right.
I
And
think,
Santa's white gloves, that's easy. Just go find white
yeah.
gloves.
White gloves, easy peasy. There's some little glasses.
Yes.
Santa has glasses. They're like $5 if you want
There you
to
go.
wear them. Although there's gonna be a lot of stuff on. Okay, let's talk about the face. Let's get to the
Yes.
face aspect because there's a lot of stuff going on this Santa's face. Not only do you have the glasses, and then you obviously need like the Santa wig beard. I don't know if there's actually a word for a beard wig, but it's a wig you wear on your face. And I looked at actually several of these, and you would think that like I would have come to a consensus. But like I was also being very picky with the beard because I was like, oh, I don't want him to be uncomfortable while he's
Right.
wearing this thing, right? And so like I tried to find one. So I feel like this is going to be one of those things where you need to personally kind of like I've put the one in that I thought might work the best and is at a reasonable price because there was obviously some that range in the 50 $60 for this wig and beard set. And then there's stuff that's $10 and up. And I picked kind of one of my Amazon rules is don't ever pick the cheapest, pick the second cheapest. That tends to
Yeah.
be like the golden spot. And this one seems fine. Now, I will say that I noticed in a number of the pictures from customers. In some pictures, the wig looks really, really curly, and some of them it doesn't look as curly. And what you can do is if you don't like the kind, and you can do this with any wig that's like really, really curly, you can wash that and kind of like if it will take a hot dryer or something, you can kind of smooth that out and you can do like brushed out curls that are not so like corkscrew. And so some of those wigs that are cheaper actually looked quite nice when they took the time to like style them. So if you want to put in that little extra effort, it might be worth it, but it's also not necessary because I mean, it's a wig. It's a wig for your face.
Right.
But but even beyond that, beyond the glasses and beyond the wig, his idea, like we mentioned before, was that he's also going to be putting sugar skull makeup on his face. So there's a lot going on in the facial area, which I think he said he has somebody doing the makeup for him. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so he has somebody who's doing makeup for him for this, but I did add something in here because it's something that I discovered I would not have thought of back in the day, but I remember finding it when I was trying to do a different cosplay for like a fairy outfit. Um, for a lot of these full face makeup sets, a lot of places are starting to do like full face temporary tattoo kits. So it looks like a face mask, like that you would wear like in a spa or something, but it's just temporary tattoos. And so you press it on, you wet it just like you would any other temporary tattoo and pull it off, but it covers your whole face. And so it's all these little intricate designs. So if you don't feel confident trying to do a bunch of makeup on your own or you don't want to deal with like the time that something like that can take, like this is 30 seconds of your time and looks exactly like you would expect it to. So if it was me personally and I was doing the sugar skull makeup, I would actually go for this option because it will save so much time and effort and it won't smear, especially with the wig, the beard, and the glasses and everything else that could smear the makeup, it's not going to have that. So that's an option to think of. If you ever have to have something that you're afraid is going to smear, you can get just a temporary tattoo version of it and put it on your face.
I think that's genius. I've never seen anything like that. And makeup stresses me out, especially when it's like you
Yeah.
have an hour before the event, you have a full face of makeup to get on and it has to look right. I think that's just a great idea. And I think this one that you put in the Amazon cart has 12 different designs that it comes with. So, I mean, you could choose which one you want, which is neat.
Yeah, that's what's even fun too is like so let's say that you like the forehead version of one and you like the cheek version of the other, you can just cut out what you don't like and only put on what you want. So you could even mix and match these as they go.
Yeah.
So it's customizable, it looks good, and you don't have to worry about it, which is a core tenet of closet cosplay. I don't want to have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's smart. It's a good idea. But obviously, if you have somebody that wants to do your makeup and is good at it, like
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
For sure. If they want to worry about it, they can worry about
Exactly. So we mentioned before how we wanted the trim for the coat, but it wasn't included on it. So we included in the list just fur trim, white fur trim. You could probably go pick this up at your local craft store. If
that's what I
you,
would do.
I'm sure they could have cheaper prices or coupons, that kind of thing. Just go find you a white trim and you could cut it. You want the length down the center, you want the length around the bottom of the coat and around the sleeves. So you're obviously, you might want different thicknesses and that kind of thing. And I think you could find that easily at a craft store just shopping around.
Yeah, that's another, take a hop over to the hobby store, just pick you something up, whatever will work, which that's very common items. It's not going to be a big deal.
Right. And I thought it would just be a cute extra accessory and a detail for a Santa costume to be carrying around a Santa sack. And I mean, you could put, if you're dead Santa, you could put some like creepy things in it or whatever to pull out and just give yourself an added effect. Or you could put like any kind of stuffed animal or pillows in it to just make it look full, but so it's not heavy. And just carry that around. We found a big gold one. There's ones on Amazon that say Merry Christmas if you want to go that route. I'm sure you could go get just a laundry bag, like a canvas laundry bag, and that would work just as well. And paint like weird stuff on it if you want to. Whatever you want. You could say
That's
like
true.
bah humbug or whatever.
Which is what the one single Santa costume in black that we found earlier is. That it was a bah humbug.
Yeah.
Bah humbug Santa Claus outfit, and it said bah humbug on the hat. I don't know. They were really like, it was very on the nose.
Yeah.
Which I think, let's see, do we have anything else here? This sounds like the most simple and most complicated costume in our repertoire right now. It's like one piece took like 95% of our time.
You're right. You're right.
But we enjoy the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us the simple stuff that, you think is going to take us 5 minutes and we'll be like, oh, we spent 2 hours searching for this thing.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's always fun.
Yeah, and I think it'll look cool when it's all together. I'm honestly really excited to see this one because I want to see how it comes together.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a fun idea.
For real.
So our next episode, we'll be talking about our Halloween outfits. Unless you guys have another suggestion for us, we'd love to help you out. We're getting closer to Halloween, so get your suggestions in. If you're still waiting for that last minute costume, maybe we'll go over some last minute costume ideas that you could do from your closet. Just some fun stuff. I know a lot of people, October has snuck up on me for sure, so maybe it's snuck up on you as well. But as always, go check out our Facebook page. You can always send us an email. Click the Contact Us button on the Facebook page, take you to our suggestion form. And send us pictures of any cosplay you do from your closet because we love seeing those and it's fun for us to see what you guys do.
Absolutely.
We got anything else?
I think that is going to be it from us today.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.